Uh, I'm excited because I mean we've had so much fun in our lives. Sorry if this is really a loud mic, but I want people home to hear too. We've had a lot of fun going to Norway together. I've been going since I was a kid. I don't know, I was 11, 12, 13 in that range when I first started going.
I think I was about 12 or 13 when I started going. So it was
About
really
the same
neat.
time. Yeah. So what I want to talk about tonight is like, I want to hear some of my dad's stories of him going to Norway with his family. I don't know if anyone who saw the picture on Facebook, but that was my grandpa and grandma and my dad and my uncle in front of the family farm in Norway with the Volkswagen Beetle. That was actually them. So it was a real photo.
Yeah.
And I want that Beetle really bad.
With one of our Volkswagens that we bought.
Right.
And we'll see. And let me just back up just a second. How we kind of started this thing was we would drive from Eugene to Minneapolis, had some friends in Minneapolis, spent a couple of days there recuperating, drive to New York, and then catch.
In the back of a 49 Chevy Deluxe, by the way, with this, we still have to this day, sitting in the garage.
And we would go on a boat. And one of the boats was the Queen Mary. And that was quite a trip for a young person or for anybody, I think. And basically out of New York. Is that better? Okay. And so we'd go from New York to Southampton, England.
And he went by Master Dale A. Berg, Master in the book here.
And that's the
passenger list.
the list of people who
For when
went
he
on
went.
the boat. Yeah, pretty cool.
This is 1953, July 14th, 1953.
Yeah. We also went on the Stavanger, and
That's
that
our
was another
contract.
boat that wasn't quite as fancy as the Queen of Mary. Queen Mary was just something else. And the biggest thing that I remember from the Queen Mary was when the ocean got rough and we were out in the middle of the Atlantic. And my brother Paul and I had such a great time sitting in the swimming pool, which they totally almost drained, except for about maybe a foot of water in there. We'd sit in a inner tube, and as the boat would rock one way, you go down at the bottom. When the boat came back the other way, you go clear to the top of the swimming pool. And we did that for 5 days, and that was really, really neat. That was one of the things I remember about the Queen Mary. The other thing I remember about the Queen Mary is that it seems like they would have an endless string of food that they would bring to your room. And they'd come to your room and they'd, clean it up, give you new sheets, whatever, and all kinds of food every time. So you could hardly, you'd starve to death almost. And the other thing that kind of comes to mind a little bit is when the oceans were a little bit rough, what would they do to your table? They would take the tablecloth and they would wet it, get it soaking wet. And therefore your utensils and everything would stay on the table and not go on the floor or anyplace else because the water in the tablecloth kept it there. So that was a cool thing. And then, what we would do then, we'd land in Southampton and a lot of times take a little boat across to Christian Sun from England to Norway. And then there's a bunch of times, I'm not sure how many times it was, but we would go to Sweden by train and we would buy a Volvo or two. And then we would drive those around Southern Europe for a couple of weeks. And then we'd go back to Norway and we'd work on the farm, stay on the farm there. And that was a lot of fun to do. Just go, what we do is put dots on a map, and just put dots on a map and then go from dot to dot to dot to dot. And that's how we figured out our trip and that kind of stuff. And there was one time when we stayed at a gentleman's, he owned Carl Molitor, he owned Molitor Boots. And we stayed at his place for a week and it was up on a mountain. And the only way you could get to his place was by train. He had his own train and everything else because that's where his place was that he lived and that's where his place was that the people worked. So that's how they got back and forth. that's one thing there. So basically, it was a lot of fun. Getting over to Norway and having the cars there, that was really a lot of fun. And one of the biggest problems we had was, how do you take care of the car? What do you do with the car? When do you bring it back? Do you not bring it back? And I know Shepherd Motors here, we bought some Volvos through them. And basically, they would ship them back to Portland through the canal, and we'd pick them up in Portland. So that's how we got the Volvos, was, bought them over there, drove them around, leave them at the dock in Stavanger, and they would take them and bring them back here. So that was really cool there. I had one note here, and this is kind of like off the base so a little bit, but basically, when we started our business, Berg Ski Shop, basically, my dad was in the gas station business. Now, he came across in the 30s from Norway, came to New York, and basically he and his cousins and brothers went to Staten Island there, and then they went to Minneapolis, and they went to Seattle. And so how'd they end up in Eugene? I have no idea. But they did. They ended up in Eugene and stuff like that. And there was a whole bunch of them that came here, and they just kind of tagged along. Basically, a lot of times people just simply lived with one another. Somebody had a house, 2 or 3 people moved in with them. This is how they got around.
We do know how Grandpa made it to Eugene, or why he made it to Eugene and stayed. Because 2 of his brothers lived here.
Yeah.
And he was in Klamath Falls, and he would come back to visit them, and then met my grandma. And the rest is history. He had a reason to stay.
So basically, one of the things that sticks in my mind about starting the ski shop, again, tying to Norway, was that basically my dad had the gas station. His brother had a gas station across the street. So where our ski shop is basically where his brother Klaus had his gas station. And my dad had it across the street and a Hancock service station. And so basically, my dad in 1940, when I was born, bought the gas station that Klaus owned across the street where the ski shop is. So, but I have this little note here of my dad would come home for breakfast every day, and basically come home like 9, 10 o'clock, went to work at 6, then would come home. And a lot of that coming home in midday was because the Norwegians would do middog, and they would go to work at 6 in the morning, and then they would come home like at 11 o'clock, have some food that somebody made, Bestamore, Bestfar, somebody made it, and basically then would sleep for an hour, and then about 1 or 2 o'clock would get up and go and work again until 6 o'clock. So basically, when we started the ski business, my dad came home one morning from the gas station, said, "Boys, I think we should go into ski business." And I looked at him and I said, "Well, we're leaving for Norway in 2 weeks. How are we going to do that?" And I was like 15 years old, and my brother was like 10 or 11, Paul was. And Paul said, "Oh, that's no problem." He says, "I know a lot about the ski business." 10 or 11 years old. So we basically, went to San Francisco, Squaw Valley actually, and to Seattle before we left, and then went to Norway, and basically, had a nice, wonderful trip over there, vacation, and came back and opened the ski shop in the house that we just bought next door to the gas station. At that time, the gas business was good enough that I thought, well, I'll never do anything other than work in a gas station, because that's what it is. And then also, just in that same note, I remember when gas was 29 cents a gallon, and basically I looked at that, and we're going to raise the price on gas. We're going to raise it up into 30 cents a gallon. And I went, I wonder if people will even buy cars now, The price of gas is getting so high. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. So
Family doesn't get paid, remember? I grew up in the ski shop, remember?
So we basically, that was quite an experience getting started there. And we were so lucky when we started the business that we came back and we're kind of wondering what to do, how to do, and if to do. And two of our competitors, Binky and Leon, came over and they said, well, we would love to come to work for you. And we said, where? Oh, in the ski shop. Ski shop, it's a house, a rental house right now. They said, well, we know a lot about the ski business. And they worked for the railroad. So they worked for the railroad for one day. They worked for the ski shop for 2 days. And that's how we got off to a really good start. And that those guys came over and said, we can get you going. And we didn't know who they were even. So it's kind of like, okay. So that's, so there's a lot of, neat stories like that get going and doing that. Okay, everybody.
All right. And one thing that I always heard about my grandpa is that we knew it was time to go home when the wallet was empty. So that was how grandpa did it. So you go to Norway, you're there for a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever it is. And it's time to go home when that wallet is flat. So
yeah, that's just kind of like, well, and the neat thing about us going to Norway with having the family over there is that the only cost that we really have is getting there. Right. Once we get there, watch out, because here they come. That's just like going and visiting Janine.
Right, totally.
And her family in Germany. It's kind of like, you better hang on to your clothes pretty quick because mom's going to come and get them and wash them. And then she brings them back and they're all folded and like they've never been folded before.
Because they've been ironed. She irons your underwear, your socks, everything.
Yeah. So, it's kind of they must be brought up that way over there because that's what they do, is they just take care of people and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And especially with that mid-dog, I keep going back to that mid-dog at 11 o'clock or so, but it was always meat and potatoes and stuff like that. Really good food that was given to us for that mid meal and stuff like that. The other thing that was kind of a fun thing was that in the houses they have over there, when we started going over there was no bathrooms. And you'd have to run out to the barn. You're going to go to the bathroom. And that was, one kind of thing I had to get used to over there.
Just find a good corner.
Right. Yeah, no kidding. You'd be right there with the cows. So it was always a good thing there. So it's a lot of fun there. And let's see what I had one other note here. What was it? Oh, yeah, what I wrote was a day on the farm, and they're up at 6, then they have mid-dog, then basically they take a nap and have a great time. And basically at that time, there was no TV, radios occasionally you'd find, and basically just be a kind of a fun time to be there. But it was family time, and that was what was really nice. So that's kind of my starting point.
So the one thing you don't know about my dad is when he goes to Norway, a big part of his trip to Norway is when he shuts down, like is in comatose state for a good chunk of the time, as in like he goes and did for years with Coast Guard and baseball and ski shop and everything that he's got going on in his life, all the volunteer stuff he did. Norway was the one place he'd go to just shut down, and he could sleep for like 15 hours. It was amazing to me. I don't know how he even does that, but he was very good at it.
Well, but also I didn't totally get away from all the stuff because I had to do radio every day from Norway.
Yes.
So I do radio in the afternoon at 4:25 and back here, and that would be 7:25 here in Eugene. So that still hung around with me to call back and do radio live from Norway. But that was fun to do, let people know what's going on. So it was kind of like, my life was kind of like being on the radio for 35 years, kind of like people knew where I was going when I was in Seattle for Seafair, when I was here, when I was, doing this and that and the other thing, going to Norway. And, you know, so many people would go, "Oh, when you going to Norway, man?" Well, it's, you know, it's because they followed me for so many years and stuff like that. So it was really cool doing that.
Yeah, I got to see the looks on people's faces when he'd walk in the door at some random store and be like, "Can I use your phone?" And they're just like, "Huh? To do what?" You know, first you're speaking English and we're in Norway or Germany or wherever we're at in the world, in Ireland for a week once a year. So I should back up a little bit. So it is funny about the radio stuff though, because that was a big part of every trip we did. But the cool thing about, so my dad, we had 4 boys. And so 2 of us would go with dad each year. And so that was just the system. There's two each year. So ended up being Sven and I were the ones that would go together, and then JP and Jeff would go together. And so so it was a lot of fun. Just that system worked really well, and we all traveled well together and had a good time. And at some point, all the brothers stopped going, and my dad's like, "Well, I'm going to Norway. Who wants to go with me?" And no one wanted to go. And I'm like, "I'll go. No problem." Sign me up. So it ended up being just you and I for a while there, and then I met Janine, and then it was us going to Germany for a week or 2, and then go to Norway, or stop in, go fly through Frankfurt, and then go to Norway. And so we'd see Janine for an hour or something, and then gone again. It was crazy, but it was neat because like just those trips throughout the years, it was so special because I mean, I know a lot of you are going to totally go along with this of like, it's not a vacation for one. You're going to see family. That means you're going to see this person, then go to see that person, go see that person, go see that person. But the flip side of that is your family becomes your friends. Like they truly, when you're living with that person for a week or 2 weeks or a month or whatever it is, they are no longer just your family. They're your friends. You get close. I mean, to the point where like Janine and I went to Nice with one of my cousins and his wife and young daughter at that time, and spent a week together in South France. And it was so special to do that. And they've been doing, I mean, a bunch of them have come to America at some point or another. I know my cousin Tronny came one day for a month or whatever it was. It was wintertime. And the next morning we jumped in the car and drove to Mount Ashland to go to a ski festival. So, because he's a telemark skier, I'm a telemark skier, went to a race. Why not? You didn't get any sleep last night. We're going to go to a ski race. And it was a ton of fun. And it was the first time I've ever been to that race. And they do crazy costumes that we didn't know they were supposed to have costumes. So my best costume was "Kiss Me, I'm in Norwegian." In Norwegian, so "Kiss Me, I'm Norwegian." That was the best costume I could come up with for the day. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We had a good time.
And then in that same note, we had a cousin over there. His name is Berger. And he is a idiot. I don't know.
Idiot?
No.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, no.
No, he's insane. He's crazy.
Well, Berger. So what
In a
he
good
would
way.
do before he found the last woman to marry in his town. So he would come to the USA. He would put a dot on a map. Denver, Orlando, San Francisco. Put a dot on the map. Come over here, rent a car for 2 weeks, drive around and come back to the airport. And he had no idea where he was going or how come. And, you know, doing back to what he does now, he has a gas station over there and he is very successful. He has a wife who he captured, and
She's wonderful.
she's wonderful, and they have 2 children. And basically, they just simply have a really, really good life. And it was great that they got together and everything. But he just simply enjoyed the United States over here, enjoyed the people, came over and visited every year, and would just drive around aimlessly.
Yep, there's more to it than that. He has literally driven to every state in the US, including all the way through Canada to drive to Alaska, just because. Literally, I mean, we go to like country concerts and things like that. But well, so he didn't drive to Hawaii, but every state you could drive to, he has done it. And he even, like, out on a whim, wanted to buy a truck. So he thought, oh, I'll look up and see if I can find a truck. Found one in Texas. So he bought a ticket to Texas, flew to Texas, drove back to Oregon, and then put it on a boat in Portland. And then what do you have, 2 inches that it fit in his garage?
I think so, yeah.
2 inches. So he like literally the bumper is like touching the wall and the door could just barely close, because Norwegian garages are not designed for trucks at all. Berg. Yeah.
Yeah, we call him Burger just because it's easier, but
Oh, his last name isn't Berg though. He's got the his mom's
Yeah.
side.
yeah, but no. But that's been the neat thing about growing up with that group over there, is that we have grown up with them. And so it's not just visiting, but we have been getting older and older and older with them for, 50 years. And it's been really, really nice. And it's gone to the next generation here, where they're just, nobody even thinks of it as a cousin or anything. They just think of it as, oh, Jarl's here,
Right. Right.
and that kind of stuff. So really, really is neat there.
It really is neat. I mean, we've grown up with them, and again, either us going to them or them coming to us. I think the first one I remember was Gerg, and he was like the first person that really came back a lot, like in the 90s.
Yeah.
He loved skiing, so he'd come in the winter times to go skiing. He was my brother's age, my oldest brother's age, so they could go skiing, hanging out, drinking, whatever it is that they did. So I'm actually amazed he didn't stay here, because he loved America. But he's got a beautiful wife and a wonderful family back there now. So,
But he just happens to work for a Texas oil company too.
he's a weirdo too, by the way, because he has a full-time job, and then he bought a business that repairs VCRs and TVs and other things just for fun. And it's like, that's a full-time job too. Yeah, that's in
Stavanger,
Stavanger.
yeah.
We're just outside of Stavanger. Yep.
Yeah. And then we have, talking about Burger just very quickly here, rolling the gas station. He called me, what was it, last Monday, a week ago, and he said, how much is gas in America? And I says, well, it's about $4 to $5 a gallon. Well, that's pretty cheap, isn't it?
Yes.
And I said, yeah, it is for you. I said, how much is it for you? Oh, it's just $12 a gallon.
Right.
12, yeah. And
No big
nobody,
deal.
they never even think about driving you someplace or taking you someplace at $12. He says, I have guys come in here every day that pay $100 worth of gas every day, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. And then we have another cousin, Tronny, who lives up on a little farm. He got 3,500 acres?
At least.
Yeah, something like that.
It's got 2 lakes and mountains, and
He used to build cabinets and he got tired of doing that, so he went and bought a farm. And
he was a city slicker, not a farmer, not born on a farm, nothing, born in the city.
and he married a lady whose father was sent to Hawaii as a missionary.
Mhm.
The father was. He was a doctor. And the Norwegian government sent him to Hawaii as a missionary over there. So, it's kind of crazy,
All of his daughters went to school in Hawaii.
and that kind of stuff. And so it's just, you never know what's going to happen.
Yep.
Berger's mother is a nurse and stuff like that. So she works in the medical field and all that. So that's been the background there. But I don't know.
Ruth is my shopping partner. Ruth Paqueta is her name, and she helps me find wonderful things that I want to find at the thrift shops. She's very thrifty, so sweaters at the thrift shops and fun Tina boxes, and yeah, she is my favorite coffee partner too. Like, imagine walking down the roads of Stavanger, the old town, and drinking coffee. That is us. We are like the best partners in that.
Yeah. So it's just an amazing family over there. And it's just really fun because everybody seems to blend together and all that kind of stuff and do things together and have you over their house. And they can all do that. They entertain each other and all that kind of stuff. Really family-like. So it's really, really nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, so some funny things that just, my experiences, like Shataya was one of the cousins that we've hung out with a lot as a kid. He really loved American movies. And he had some really good buddies, and we're all hanging out. And at one point he's like, So, I mean, and Sven and I were, I mean, we were like total skinny wimps, and the friends look at us like, all Americans are fat. And I'm just like, I'm looking at my brother and I'm looking at myself and I'm just like, I'm a skinny wimp. How could you don't count? You're Norwegian. I'm like, well, I'm only half Norwegian. I'm half Irish too, so according to my mom. So I don't know if that counts or not. But yeah, it was like, all right, fine. But what they'd seen is like John Candy and all these other movies where just like, larger individuals. I know, so all Americans are that way. It's like, no, sorry, we're the melting pot. You're a little off there. Oh well. Trying to think of like what else fun things. I mean,
Well, I was going to say one thing that I spent many years trying to do was buy a microwave for my one cousin. And she would not accept a microwave.
Torin did not want it.
Nope, she did not want a
No.
microwave. And I think finally last couple of years now she's bought a microwave, I think. But, it's just that gets set in a certain way there. And then we tried, last time I was there, we went to buy her a TV set. And we bought like a 21-inch or something like that. And I said, well, look at just, let me pay the difference in getting you a 40-inch or something like that. Oh, no, it's way too big for my room, and that kind of stuff. So really set in their ways and stuff like that. So
Ice cube trays. Tell us about ice cube trays, Dad.
yeah, well, they didn't have,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, they didn't have ice trays over there. And so like 20 years ago, they didn't use ice in their water or milk or anything like that. And so basically, I brought over some ice trays, like from Eugene Hardware and stuff like that. And they really, once they got used to using them, they really liked them, but they wouldn't go for it at first. And they'd hide them when I'd come. I'd say,
yes, they did.
Where's the ice trays? Where's the ice trays? Oh, we got them in a cupboard over here. I said, well, can we use them now? Oh, yeah, since you're here. Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's right.
Oh, yes, no question. Oh, yeah. Sorry, we can go back in history a little bit. And some of you have seen this when I've presented, but this bag is the bag that my grandfather traveled with way, way back. So when I understand this is like the bag he came to America with. So a long, long time ago. Here, I'll pick it up so people can see it and people at home. I'll explain the tag here. It says under custom seal, this package. I'm looking for a date. I don't know if there's a date. Oh, there we go. There we go. Alfred, Queen Mary. Oh, this is the Queen Mary. So he also took this obviously back and forth then. So you should remember this bag.
Yeah,
maybe.
I remember the bag.
So yeah, this is
pretty well worn.
Yes, it is.
Another thing that just popped in my mind is when they went through Staten Island, basically so many of them changed their names. And my dad over in Norway, basically it's Berge, Baggy. And that's what everybody goes by over there is Baggy. And so basically.
We were related.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And so basically when they came to America and when they were at Staten Island, so many of them stayed at Staten Island and changed the name right there when they came to America. Yeah. So they just wanted to make it simple and easy to get on a piece of paper. Yeah, I know Christensen and just a lot of names like that where they go to Smith and Jones and yeah. So yeah, but no, it's quite a family over there, and the family seems to be built on taking care of other people and being team and working together and all that kind of stuff. And that's what's made it so nice is that, there's never a question of, can we do something? If it's legitimate, we're doing it. Yeah. And that's what's really, really nice. So nice to have a background like that. And I just really enjoyed that a lot of my cousins could come to America, fit in pretty easily over here and that kind of stuff. And, it's funny when you're over there and you meet somebody and, you say, hi, English, bing, 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 bing. They go, no more Norwegian. Or when we go get together for dinner over there, basically It's English, English, English. Everybody speaks English. And that's where they're brought up, and starting probably in the first, second, third grade, right in there, where they're dealing with English, and all their TV is in English. And so they got to know the English. And so, what's it in Germany? When do they start doing English there?
It depends on what part of Germany you're in. The part where I grew up in, because we're right at the French border and we're under the French allies after World War II. We had to start with French, like typically third grade.
Yeah, third grade.
Yeah. Other parts English, but Eastern part was Russian. And
Yeah.
I think that was for 50 years after World War II. And now that all changed, and most of Germany starts with English too. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Sorry about people at home.
Yeah. So basically, just English is wherever you go, you start out with hi or hello or something like that, and boom, people switch right over. So it's pretty neat but you want to greet them first rather than start talking to them. Greet them with hi or hello or something, so they know to turn the gear, and get on the right schedule here. So.
Oh, yeah. For sure. Right. Yeah, all the mathematics, everything, all sciences are in English. An interesting, or I don't know, call it interesting, a sad, a happy memory was with my cousin Tronvita, who spent a lot of time with and ski together and all those things. One time we were sitting in his garage kind of talking about family and history, and he's a very proud Norwegian and very proud of the Berg name. And it kind of hit us that this is the last generation with the Berg name in the family, because there was all girls and there were no boys to carry the name forward. And like we even talked about, like, should we change our name to Berg and add the E back on just to kind of keep the family name going, even if it's here in the US. And so we sat there actually in tears over like the loss of the family name. And it was the craziest thing. But this last Christmas, right? That Elsa Torin. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. We saw her at Christmas time, year and a half ago, I guess now, and saw her kind of holding her belly, and she is unwed. And so we're like, wait, and it was a boy. So the name lives on. And like, she couldn't figure out why I was so excited at first. I'm just like, you don't understand, this is huge. Like, you get to carry the family name on. So it was funny after the fact. Right. But the Berg name has gone on in some form, Vandenberg to Berge. It's changed in some form or another, but. Right. So yeah, it's just like it's a fun, for me, a happy, sad memory all at the same time. It's happy now. It was really sad at that time. So did you have a question? Hey, hold on. Sorry, we have to do this.
We were just getting ready to do the sale of the boutique, and we had some of those little silvery looking things up there. We had no idea what they were. Good.
So I think you're talking about the little figurines. Is that correct? Or these guys? They're just little Viking ships. Yeah, I mean, I assume, like something in salt and sugar might go in these. That makes sense to me, with a little spoon. And my cousin Tronny and Ruth gave me these. So been a few years back now. My dad, though, used to bring these home to us back in the day before we got to go to Norway. So when we were kids, and he would go. And so, you can show it. Yeah, they're just little pewter looking dudes. Yeah, it's like solid pewter. It should be pewter. Yeah. But they're solid, they're heavy. All right, I think Janine's showing the folks at home. We'll do with the spoon there.
About 7:15.
Yeah, it is 7:15. My dad's really want to stay in on the clock and like be done talking. So we're trying to stick hard here. Another fun thing, just sorry, I'm going to talk a little bit more because I know we always enjoy this. The challenge of finding sweaters, especially for that dude. That's my dude back there in the back, Finn, Anton. And so finding sweaters was always a fun challenge. And in Stavanger, the Red Cross, the Goodwill, the secondhand store was like gold. It was so gold there. Because you can find a sweater for $20-$30 max, and they're beautiful sweaters, as you can see. And some are, I think that one's handmade. That one's not handmade, but I have a couple at home that are handmade. They're beautiful, and for $20-$30.
Yeah, they wear them and then they outgrow them.
Right.
And then they turn them into Red Cross or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so it's kind of like, okay.
Free tech. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, free tech. Yep. So we really enjoy that challenge and the fun, and going to Prekestolen. I've gotten to go like multi-night trip on boats where we actually kayaked through the fjords with my cousins and a bunch of his buddies. So it's been really, really fun and special to go back and meet lots of people. And we joked about back when we were kids that the Norwegians lived in caves. So we always took pictures of like rock formations that look like caves. So it's kind of the family joke about caves. And one thing that I wanted to talk about, just because it was always funny for us, my dad was cheap. Let's just keep it simple. He was cheap. We had to walk everywhere. We had to sleep in airports all the time. And it was amazing, like how many airports we slept in. Like he just was like, it was no big deal. It's like, yeah, we're just going to go to Heathrow and we're going to sleep there tonight. Or we're going to go to, well, I mean, not Stavanger, I guess, because we had family.
Well, that's one of the trips I really liked, was doing Heathrow and going from Norway to Heathrow. And I had a special corner in the airport there that I'd sleep in. And so basically I'd be there for one day, pretty much see what I wanted to see, and then fly out the next morning. And that worked really, really well. So,
but we often, for when all of us, like as a family, were together, then we had a place downtown in London that we would stay, because we stayed there many times. It's weird. They had never taken a shower in a closet before, never went to the bathroom in a closet before, because it was like a shared communal situation. It was so weird, but it worked. But honestly, what was cool about that, about like growing up and going to all these airports, I got to meet so many people and see so many different cultures that you just wouldn't have seen in your sheltered little Eugene, Oregon life. It was awesome. And at the end of the trip, when you were like homesick and just wanted to hear American English for the first time in like weeks, other than your own family, your own parent, your dad and your brother, it was awesome because you'd meet people from all over the place, and it was so great. So I mean, yeah, we slept in Denmark, we slept in Ireland. I think I'm trying to remember if we slept in the airport in Ireland or not.
I don't remember sleeping in the airport in Ireland, but it was neat. And that's one of the things going over there so many times. You know where your bedroom is, you know what the routine is, all that kind of stuff. You walk in and your room's right down there, and that kind of stuff. And it's really, really cool to have that comfort of knowing all that and stuff like that, and just being that familiar with it and with the families over there. Yeah.
Well, what's been fun for me of like growing up sleeping in airports, I don't even think twice about it now. Like it doesn't even faze me that I'd throw in a little pillow and a little blanket into my bag, and because I know I'm going to end up sleeping in some airport at some point. And so I still travel that way to this day. I mean, even if I don't know if I'm going to sleep there or not, I still travel with some basic stuff. Yeah, basic bedding so you can sleep. Go ahead. Oh, one sec.
Of your grandfather's generation, did all of the family, all of your your fathers, did they all immigrate or did some stay?
No, just
Tell us about those.
It's working.
okay. It is working.
Yeah, you're on.
Yep. So basically, it was funny that some of them would come and stay. Some of them would come and stay for a while, then go back again. I had one cousin, one named Tudor, Teddy, and he came over here and he built several houses. Didn't have any money, so I think my dad probably loaned him the money to build the houses and stuff like that. Built the houses over here, then went back to Norway. and, different deals like that. So, and my Uncle Klaus had, buying service station or getting service stations and stuff like that. Yeah. And then one of the things that I have to laugh about, because it's a little bit weird, is that my mother and dad didn't argue very much, but they occasionally did. And my mother told my dad that the more houses he built and bought on the University of Oregon campus, the broker he would be. And that didn't quite turn out that way, but
We still own the houses.
yeah. And so, but just, and then another one was they were going to go to Los Angeles, and my mom says the shortcut is through Kansas City to go to Los Angeles. And my dad says, no, I think there's a better route than that. So, so I remember some of these things when they were discussing different items and stuff like that. And
No Norwegian was allowed in the house, by the way. She was born in America, but Norwegian parents, but born in America, you speak English if you live in America. She was of that generation for sure.
yep, so it's kind of interesting.
But he didn't, from what I know, he didn't know English when he moved to America, or his two
Not a clue.
brothers.
No. But he came with cousins and brothers and stuff like that. So that's why they would go like to Seattle. And, there's a Norwegian community there and all that kind of stuff. Same as Minneapolis and stuff, Norwegian. And so, huh? Yeah, Ballard, yeah.
Exactly.
And so basically, they would end up in those communities. Probably have some folks in our community that end up there because of relatives and friends coming from someplace, and so it all ends up that way, and they know their routes there. So, yeah.
Given the time span that you've been going back and forth, both you guys, okay, what kinds of things have you observed that, like, it would be common in America to have either those things or this type of an activity or something like that you never really saw in Norway for a while, and then they migrated over there? And conversely, what did you see in Norway that made its way to the United States? What kinds of things stick out in your mind that was kind of curious to you that they, you saw them there
You bet.
and migrated?
Well, the first thing that pops in my mind is food. And basically, they ate a lot of potatoes and they ate a lot of meat there in Norway. And then all of a sudden here in the last 20 years, how would you like a taco? How would you like a burrito?
Pizza,
Pizza. My
hamburger.
cousin Berger has the gas station there. He has a special every Thursday on a pizza that he sells. And he sells like 60, 70 of those to the community there on a Thursday. And basically, so that's the thing that I've noticed, is that their food has changed. And like they eat a lot of rice and stuff like that still. Yep. And, some of the stuff is hard to get them to make of the Norwegian food because they want to impress you with the American food or the world food and stuff like that.
Well, so what's funny about the Berg specifically is, so he lives in the town of Tonstad. Here, I can point it out for those who don't know where Tonstad is. Right here is Tonstad. Here's Stavanger, Tonstad. So he has the only gas station. He loves America, as we've talked about. And so, yeah, he has hamburgers, cheeseburgers, bacon cheeseburgers. He has a whole rack of country music and jazz because he loves all that stuff. So, yeah, Steve. Was it a bus stop? Well, so that's funny. His history, his dad was a bus driver. Berg was a bus driver. So there was a bus stop there, and he used to drive bus.
The bus lines, I say they stop at gas stations and you can order your lunch.
This is definitely a bus line for sure. Yeah, so Trani, or it's Trani, Bega
Berger.
used to be a bus driver and used to drive that whole route before he bought the station there. And so that, and that again, like you said, was one of the big stops.
But Tunsta, little town of Tunsta, is a funny city in that there's no stop signs,
Yep.
no stoplights, no white lines on the road, one policeman, and he comes to Burgers usually to have lunch.
Yep.
And if you want him on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, you need to call him at home.
Yep, totally.
Now, that is changing a little bit as the world changes and people travel and come up from the south and come to Tunsta and stuff like that. But that's the way it's been. One policeman, 5 days a week. Yep.
The one thing I wish we did here that they do very much so over there is the hunting cabins. I think everyone and their dog should own a hunting cabin, and we don't. So, but we should totally, because that's the coolest thing to know that you can, for like a few weeks, just go disappear in the mountains, and like every family has one. It's amazing. So that was some of my like favorite memories, was to go to Nils's cabin, and he had like the main cabin, and he had this like little shed thing, whatever, but it happened to have a couch, and it happened to have a world radio in there. So I get stations from all over the world in there, and there was a freezer in there. So I started a business to selling ice cream to my brother. So I'd buy a box of ice cream, it was like bars, and then I'd sell them to him. It was perfect, and I made good profit. So, and that was a funny thing too. So my dad had a trick that I don't know how it didn't get past him, but Sven really wanted to exchange money at the bank. And so we did, and he got like, they charged him on every single bill. And then we went to the post office, and my dad's like, this is where you want to exchange your money. And I don't remember why it all went that way, but I got like so much more money off my exchange than what Sven did. So I had a lot more money than him. And so it worked out perfect to make even more money off selling ice cream. So,
And the post office does not charge a fee to exchange the money.
just a straight fee for the transaction instead of per bill.
Where the banks, they charge per bill and stuff like that. So you just have to know where to sneak around and stuff like that.
Right. And it was only 2 blocks apart. So it's rare. I had a card stop working one time when I was over there. That was scary because I only had the one card. It was my debit card. And the bank saw it as fraudulent. And so they closed it down. I'm like, ugh. But thankfully my cousins love me. So
Yeah, that's why I always carry 2 credit cards with me.
Mhm.
I carry 2 credit cards, and I carry $25 worth of $1 bills.
Right. Totally.
Because
No
there's no
joke.
time that somebody will not take a $1 bill for a tip or for something or something. They'll take that $1 bill no matter what. So
Totally.
you learn those little tricks of how you deal with people and stuff like that.
And if you're tipping with the $1 bill, your name is Dale Berg.
You bet.
Did I say he was cheap? And we slept in airports and walked everywhere, but we've seen everything in London. I promise you everything. Right, right. Doesn't. Yeah.
Well, you know, the tipping thing kind of goes along being cheap. Same way when I signed up for the police department here in Eugene, one of the things I put down is I always have a parking place because I park in the yellow zone. And I said,
True.
okay, that's the way it is.
All right. Yeah. No, I think we're good. But thank you guys truly for listen, we love going back to Norway. For those who haven't been back, please do. It's not too late. It's awesome. It's super awesome. So thank
Yep,
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think we'll take like a 5-minute break if somebody has to go poo or if you want to get more food or coffee. So we'll rejoin here at 7:35.
Well, that was a fun presentation. Did any of you Zoom people have questions or did you think of comments that you'd like to make?
This is the only way.
Hi, Wendy. Hi, Brian. Oh, wait, am I in the right place?
I'm gonna turn the sound on now.
How's it going in the mountain area? Oh, there I am. There I am. Can't
Hi,
understand
Jeannie.
what
It's
they're
nice to
saying.
see you.
Oh, you're probably muted, so I can't hear what you're saying. But I wanted to say hello to you anyway. Nope, they're not muted. I can't hear them though. Oh, yeah, they're waving.
So Jeannie,
Yes,
it's Claire here.
I see
Those
you,
are,
Claire.
those are salt dips.
Those are what?
Those little boats. Weren't you the one that asked about the little boats with the spoons?
Oh, uh-huh.
They're probably salt dips.
So they have a little spoon.
Oh,
right?
salt. We thought probably that's what they were for, but we just kind of figured that out ourselves. But anyway, we said
That's
that's
what-
surely what they were for. Okay, now how do you go to?
Those little buttons, hold it.
Can someone bring up the Tina to the camera?
Oh, that would be nice to see that Tina.
Yes. Still on the table. I see it over there. I'd like to see it up close.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how well they can hear us. Do
I
we
don't
have to holler to be able to?
I don't know.
Hey, Jarl. Jarl. No, he did not
Well,
hear
we
him.
need to, oh, there's
Oh.
Jarl.
He hears us.
Okay, hello.
Can we see the Tina that's on the table up close?
I'm sorry, say that again, please.
The Tina.
The Tina,
It's-
oh yeah, one sec. Well, it's got something in it. I mean, lights.
Ah,
It's got stuff in it. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Is there any story? Is there any stories about that, Jarl? you
There
can
is
tell us?
absolutely zero story other than we found it at a secondhand store
Yeah.
Oh,
and I got it for, I think it was like, ended up being like $35. I think is what it was. I couldn't say no. I had no choice.
Yeah.
Is that, Jarl, is that a date on the side? What's
It
on the
is,
side?
really. One sec. I think it's 1912.
wow.
Wow. Oh, that's
It's-
cool.
CJ and then 1912. It could be in 1972 as well, but I think it's in 1912. I don't know really.
Whatever.
Well, it looks like plywood though, so I'm guessing it might be 72. I don't know. That, oh, yeah, it looks beautiful. Oh, it's just hair. It's what I use to cushion the other stuff.
We just have to.
Jarl, what do you keep in it?
She's going to.
Honestly, I usually just store a bunch of odds and ends that I do when I present here or at other things. So nothing really special. I mean, like lots of special things, but I don't use it day to day. It's more,
Yeah.
I just have it out in my garage, in my,
Yeah.
I mean, I have
So
a garage with a museum.
you're using it for just taking artifacts around to different presentations.
Exactly, exactly. Yep.
Well, that's really wonderful. And that tin can of the Queen Mary, I mean, how fun is that?
Oh, yeah, let me get that. Yeah, no, I was super excited when my grandma had this.
Wow. That
Oh.
must have come with cookies or candy or something in it.
Yeah, I'm sure my dad ate all the candy.
Yeah,
But my grandma
Yeah.
was a real sweet tooth though.
yeah, that's a beautiful tin. Well, that was a wonderful presentation you guys did. Really enjoyed that.
Thank you. It's fun to do. It's fun to, I mean, I love telling people about our, I mean, there's so many things I could have talked about, but I love telling people about going back to Norway and it's very special to us.
Did you guys usually go in the summertime?
We only ever went in the summertime. Though I have been able to ski over there in the summertime when we go up really high.
Yeah.
outside of Tonsta, just in the not too far from Prekiastolen, kind of up in the mountains there. There's usually snow, so we've skied a few times.
I thought maybe when your dad opened the ski shop that maybe he was going over there to buy ski equipment.
We were making it so other people could go ski there. So we didn't get to ski there in the winter time.
Yeah.
I'm
Fun.
hoping to change that now that my job is different and much more flexible, because I can work from anywhere in the world now.
Okay,
so.
I think it's time for us to start our meeting,
Uh-oh.
people. Find your
Getting official.
seats.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem, Judy. Thank you.